Yes.
Okay.
We progress. Yeah, we will progress tonight.
We hope.
Maybe.
Progress or decrease?
Yes.
So shall we start? Again, welcome everyone for the last evening of the 3 evening sessions. Again, we'll start with a short breathing exercise to quiet our mind, to bring our mind in moment present, and then trying to have good intention for being here. Again, let yourself relax, comfortable. And bring your mind to the body and that's it. And keep your attention and awareness with the breath. Once your mind has settled down, then we can think, contemplate the most meaningful to make our life is to be able to be help and benefit to others, not only just oneself. And we have the potential to not only take care of ourselves, but to be also help and benefit to others. And there is nothing more meaningful and high purpose than to be able to do that. But to be able to be really great help and benefit to other sentient beings, we need to train our mind so that we are more patient, so that we have more understanding of others, more kindness, more compassion, and more wisdom to be able to be help and benefit to others. If we don't have those inner skillful realizations, even if we want to be helped, we will not be able to be helped much. And also we need to reduce and eliminate those disturbing negative emotions. If we are frustrated, impatient, angry, upset, then again, not only we will not be able to help, we will hurt and harm others. Also, if we have too much jealousy, greediness, ignorance, again, we will not be able to help others much. Instead, we will hurt and harm others. Therefore, in order to be greater help and benefit to oneself and all sentient beings, we need to reduce those disturbing negative emotions and try to cultivate and improve those positive state of minds. To do that, we need to train our mind with correct meditation, contemplation practice, and with the continuity. To do that, we need to be reminded of those practices all the time. Therefore, I'm going to listen to the talk, not only listen, but trying to integrate as much as possible from whatever we find helpful, beneficial in our everyday life. So that over the time, we can reduce some of those disturbing negative emotions and improve those positive state of mind, thereby to be able to take care of oneself and others better. And may all of us coming here together from long distance, giving your precious time, energy, resource to listen, to engage in discussions, reflection, contemplations. May all of these become cause and conditions to achieve our highest potential, the fully awakened state, so we can be greatest help, benefit to all sentient beings. Okay, so I can page number 39, the refuge in Bodhisattva. 34, sorry. Again, we will chant in Tibetan, and if you want to recite in French, it's also okay. Sangye chodan soge chonam la chanchu pato dane kyaso che dage jinso gibe sonam ge dola penje sangye duba sho sangye chodan soge chonam la chanchu pato dane kyaso che dage jinso gibe sonam ge Dola penje sangye duba sho sangye chedan tsogi chonam la chanchu patu dane kyat dage jinso gibe sonam ge dola penje sangye duba. So we are going through one very short sutra, spoken by Buddha on what kind of mind or the wisdom to cultivate at the time of death. Um, so um, it seems that you have been meeting of time to time to discuss about preparing at the time of death. You know, so again, it's wonderful to prepare your own death because that is something we all have to deal with. It's all a matter of time, our own death, but not only our own death, also death of people around us that we might have to deal with. So that if we learn more about those and if we are more prepared, we might be able to be more help to people that who might need our help, whom we can be helpful, and dealing with our own death when it comes. So I think that is wonderful. And I was suggesting, it can be health. One, I'm very inspired and encouraged to see the community here, the sense of family feelings and real sense of community, that that's what I've felt, among the Sangha member themselves, and so that is really wonderful, to see that. And and then, helping, supporting each other when someone needs. And not only that, to be able to ask for help when you need help. I think that was one of the biggest problem we all have. And I think especially in the West, I feel there is more, even though there is kind of something people feel uncomfortable to ask for help when they need help, you know. Mm, because we feel, that people are busy, they have their own life, and then we are putting burden on them, you know. But again, it's not always the case. People would like to help. If they knew you needed help, they would be more than happy to. It wouldn't be a burden, but more than happy to help. You know, um, even though sometimes that is how we feel. You know, um, instead sometimes people feel bad that They didn't know you need help, and they couldn't be for you. And then later, they found you struggles, and you didn't have enough support, and you are not there for them when they need support. And they would have been so happy to be, and now they feel bad because they feel you couldn't support them, and because you didn't know that they needed support in that moment. So again, uh, to be able to ask, and if people are too busy and they cannot say, then there's they might not be able to support, even they might want to help. Too busy, they have their own things going. That's okay, but to be able to ask when you need help. And one way that can be helpful, instead of asking one individual, if you have some community organizations, and so then that person's write to others, if someone is free on that day, you know, someone need to go to hospital, someone to drive, or someone who need because they cannot go out for some because of some issues, some health issues, someone who can help with the groceries, someone who can drive them somewhere they need to go. So it doesn't become burden to everyone, but you know there is a where they can ask, not individual, but someone, organizations, and then that person can see who is available among them, who can be for there, and so that can be helpful. You know, in New Mexico, we have a group which is called, you know, Dharma Community, Dharma Care, and that is for that. Someone who is sick, member, one of some member who is sick, someone who needs help, someone who's dying and they need help, and so there's coordinator of that. They reach out to that, and then coordinator can kind of organize that. And people who want to participate in that, they participate. So the coordinator, all the number of people who want to participate in that, who want to help, you know. And of course, sometimes it can be people, sometimes it can be outside of the group who are also willing to help that, who want to join that. And so I think that was something that came in mind, And so again, that is helpful, when someone is dying to have some support, you know, if they need support, you know, and also to be able to ask for the support, uh, you know, um, and also to make it easy for those people who are left behind, whether it's your family members, whether your friends. It would be nice to have more clarity what you want in terms of, bury, or whether you want this bury or cremation, what you want to do with your ashes, what kind of practice prayer you would like to have, support of that. So then people who are left behind, it becomes more easy for them to make the decisions. Sometimes people are pass away, then people who are left behind, they have difficulty to make decisions. They don't know what is the right, and then sometimes they go through a lot of struggles, you know. Should I do this? Should I do this? Is this right to do? Is this not right to do? And so it's a lot of struggles. But if you have all the kind of clarify earlier, then they just follow that. It's easy, So that can be another thing that I think, to have some informations, whether you share, have, or reading with your families or the Sangha members or the community, or whatever, at least there's some information that then it becomes easy for everyone's, you know, um, Maybe who knows, when someone dies, some people, they want to have more quiet. They don't want someone to, you know, do praying and all this loudly on that. And some people might want the prayers loudly. Some people might want prayer more quietly, or different practice meditations. You know, someone might want them to help them to guide the practice at the time. Someone might not want that kind of guide. They would just like to have quiet themselves and to be able to. So, different people, different practitioners. And so sometimes people who are trying to help, they don't know what to do. But if you have more clarity on that, how you want, then it makes easy for everyone's, you know. So that is something I wanted to kind of say before I forget. And so in this sutra, as I mentioned, there are mainly four practice the Buddha advised to do at the time of death, in terms of how to think, how to meditate, contemplate at the time of death. But even though it is advice given at the time of death, it is advice that we try to do all the time. It's not only at the time of death. It's something that these are the practice that we try to apply, contemplate, reflect, and practice throughout our life. And so at the time of death, you know, then we can do by ourselves or someone to remind ourselves and to be able to do that. Um, so it doesn't mean that, is only that you did at the time of death. Actually, it is something that you try to practice throughout your lifetime. And and these are only advices of some practice. It doesn't mean this is the only practice you need to do. You know, again, sometimes um, you know. So yesterday we talked about two of the practice that the Buddha advised. You know, of by seeing all phenomena as you know empty because they are all are you know empty of inherent existence because they all are dependent arisings. Through such understanding, then letting go of the grasping at the time of death. So as we mentioned, when you don't have that grasping of the self, then different feelings, emotion normally that disturb our mind, will not arise, which arises based on that. And also the other advice is, to reflect, contemplate, meditate on compassions, compassion to all sentient beings, and because that is the very um, essence of all the Buddha's teaching and practice, the Bodhisattva practice and teachings. It contains all the teachings, all the practice in some way in that, you know. And again, yesterday there was some questions about, you know, should you do meditation on emptiness or should you do the compassions? But you can do both. Even in our everyday life, there is I think many of you who have attended His Holiness Dalai Lama's empowerment teaching, probably you have heard and aware, there's a meditations. You don't have to have empowerment to do that, even though it's kind of practice that come through the tantric, but is not specific tantric. So it is the Tibetan is called Tamjena Jogi, same, the mind of all yogas, you know, all the yogas, the mind of all the yogas is, I don't know whether I've translated the right terms, but in that meditations is first, you know, you meditate on compassion, bodhicitta mind. You know, you try to meditate on compassion and bodhicitta mind towards all sentient beings. You reflect, contemplate, and you feel that compassion. You feel that bodhicitta mind. You hold on that bodhicitta mind, that compassion. And then later you imagine, visualize that compassion or the bodhicitta being transformed into a moon seed or moon cushions at your heart. Then you meditate on emptiness of self, yourself, and all phenomena. And then again, by using whatever analysis that is effective, helpful for you, by using those analysis, and then you come to understanding how the self and all phenomena are empty of inherent existence. And again, when you come to that, convictions that how everything is empty of inherent existence, there is not even one atom of inherent existence, and then again try to meditate and hold on that emptiness for a while, and then you imagine, visualize that wisdom or the awareness that is aware of that emptiness transform into the Vajra, and that Vajra it is center of that moon disk. So that Vajra at the moon are the bodhicitta or the compassion and the wisdom or the awareness of realizing emptiness. And then you generate strong wish that I will never let go of this bodhicitta mind and this wisdom. I will never be separated from that. I will never let go of that, no matter how challenging it might be in our life. Whether it's difficult time, whether it's easy time, no matter what happens, I will hold that awareness and that compassion all the time. Whether people are nice to me or people are very cruel to me, I will not give up that compassion. Whether life is easy or whether life is difficult, I will not give up being kind and compassionate. I will not give up letting go of that awareness or emptiness. And so that is one something we try to meditate and do while we're, and also that at the time of the death, if you do that contemplation, meditation practice, then you did both those meditations, both of them. So you don't have to feel that you have to do just one or others. You can do both. But again, it doesn't mean if you don't do both, then something's wrong, or something bad is going to happen. Even if you can do one of them, that would be absolutely great, wonderful. So that is in the next year, the third practice, the Buddha advice that one can try to meditate, contemplate, and reflect on, at the time of death. And again, also, while you are still alive, where it says, the nature of all phenomena is pure, and therefore, try to have this awareness of non-entity or, non-existence. So what it means is, we can understand that on two levels, on from the from the objective point of view and from the subjective point of view. From objective point of view, the meaning of the nature of all phenomena are luminous, pure, means they are free from being in the nature of inherent existence. You know, all phenomena are empty of inherent existence. They are free from, that nature being polluted by the inherent existence. And therefore, all phenomena, the nature of all phenomena is pure, un, unpolluted by its nature, by inherent existence, and therefore, since it's not polluted, diluted in its nature, therefore it's luminous, pure. Then from subjective point of view, you know, the clear light mind. In Buddhism, especially in Vajrayana teachings, there is explanation of the mind or consciousness or different level, gross level, subtle level, more subtle level. The gross level of the mind, our senses, the five senses, as well as, all the different emotion, thoughts, those are the gross level of mind, you know. So when we die, as we are dying, all those gross consciousness will dissolve naturally, you know. And that's when people started to, you know, lose their senses, unable to see clearly, and then not being able to see, not hearing, not being able to, you know, eat, taste, not being able to um, smell, not being able to feel, those are signs of dissolution of some of those senses, the gross mind. And then slowly, your gross mind, will also cease. And then subtle mind, you know, will manifest. And in those teachings, they talk about three kind of subtle mind based on the appearance to that mind, the term those giving to those mind is based on the appearance that appear to that mind, the the mind of white appearance, the mind of red appearance, the mind of dark appearance. So those are more subtle mind. And slowly also those subtle mind will also dissolve. And then the more subtle mind, which is known as clear light mind, will manifest. And that it is mentioned, those most clear light mind is the one that continue from life after life. The growth mind will cease. Even the subtle mind cease. They do not continue. But it's the most, clear light mind that continue from one life to another life. And the nature of that most clear light mind, fundamental nature of that mind is unpolluted, undiluted in its nature. It's pure, luminous. So Buddhist understanding, according to you know, the study of from the Buddhist studies, originally, the original mind, our mind, in the nature of our original mind is pure, pure in its nature, undiluted, unpolluted, uncontaminated in its nature. And therefore, the nature of that mind is pure, luminous. And that kind of nature of the mind and the Buddha's, that clear light mind, there's no difference in terms of the nature itself. Or that clear light mind, nature of that clear light mind and the Buddha's clear light mind, enlightenment, there's no difference. The difference is that our mind is diluted, polluted temporarily, obscure, not in its nature, even though it's obscure, diluted, polluted, contaminated, but it's not in its nature. Whereas Buddha's that clear-light mind is free from that obscurations, temporary obscurations, the delusions. So the example that is given, there are a few different examples that is given. One example is the nature of our mind. That clear-light mind is like the clear blue sky. And the delusions, obscurations are like the temporary clouds. The clouds comes and they are temporary due to certain cause and conditions. Cloud is created, and then when that cloud comes, then it obscures the sun, the moon, the blue sky. But that obscurations or that pollutions is not obscure in the nature of the blue sky. And so when the conditions change, those obscurations of that, the cloud will be clear, and then you are able to see blue sky without any obscuration of the clouds. If it's in the nature, if it obscure in the nature of the blue sky, then no matter what happens, you'll always see you can't see the full blue sky, you'll always see the obscurations. But obscuration, the clouds are temporary. Even it is obscuring the blue sky, but it is not obscure in its nature, and those blue sky are, the cloud is temporary, and that is how the nature of our minds, that clear light mind is like a blue sky, and then our afflictive emotions such as anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, ignorance, all of these are temporary obscuration of the clouds, even though it obscures our mind, but it is not obscure in the nature of that mind itself. They are temporary. And because they are temporary and they are not the nature of that, when the condition change through practice meditation, we can clear that, all these obscurations. We can overcome those obscurations. So that is example, the sky and and sometimes also some example, the mirror and the dust on the dirt on the mirror, the water, clear water and the dirt in the water, there are many different examples, those given, how those dirt and obscuration are temporary, but in the not nature. And being the case, um, so that is the nature of the fundamental nature of the mind is that um, pure, luminous, undiluted, unpolluted in its nature. And because of that, then that is why it becomes possible to clear those obscuration of those negative emotions by training the mind. If they are in the nature of the mind, whether you train the mind or not, you cannot get rid of them because it's in that nature. It will always be the same. That is the nature of the mind. There's nothing you can do about, But since it's not in the nature of the mind, they are temporary obscurations. Therefore, they can be clear, and the way that you clear is by changing the cause and conditions, and the way to change cause condition and through, training the mind with different contemplation, meditation, and practice. So, and that clearer mind is more subtle and also most powerful. Is also most powerful mind. If we can utilize it for our meditations, especially for meditation on emptiness, because the conditions at that natural the conditions is best condition to have realization in emptiness because there's no dualistic appearance naturally at that time. At the moment, even when you try to meditate, there's a lot of dualistic appearance. You know, even we do not have dualistic appearance of inherent existence in that meditation, but still there is dualistic appearance of subject and objects. Still there is a dualistic appearance of, you know, um, the image, general image, because it's not direct experience. You are using inference. You know, um, also there is the appearance of the conventional phenomena itself, and that itself is again dualistic. But in that moment, in a clear light mind, all these dualistic appearance disappear, not through meditation, but naturally. At the moment, even with meditation, we try to overcome, get rid of those dualistic. We cannot. You know, you have something. Someone want to sell something. So so that is at the moment. When you try to meditate on emptiness, we want to meditate without this dualistic appearance, without subject and object, but it's hard. We see there is me or my mind which is observing, which is analyzing, which is meditating. Still there is appearance of subject and objects, you know. And whatever we are meditating on, whether it's meditating on emptiness or self, there is still appearance of the self. If you are meditating on the emptiness of the mind, there is still appearance of that conventional mind. If you are meditating on the emptiness of the cup, there is still appearance of that cup. So there is still those dualistic. Even we try very hard to not have the dualistic, is but at the time of death, naturally, because all this gross mind cease, and because there is no more gross mind, so then all this dualistic appearance subside or disappear by itself, and all that is empty, you know, to that clear light mind. All that appearance is empty, emptiness. And so if someone is able to, most of us, we are not even aware of this different stage of the mind, and then, also unable to utilize that clear light mind. But through meditation, if someone is able to utilize that clear light mind in that meditation on emptiness, especially, then you can have a, you know, much more higher chances, 100,000 chances of to have success in having understanding or realization of emptiness, or more deeply. Even you have some understanding before, but not deep, now more deeply. So that is, so trying to meditate on that with that clear light mind, you know, can be again, very beneficial. And of course, while we're still alive, we try to do those meditations, even though it's just visualization at the moment, unless you have reached high level of meditations, you know, completion stages of Tantra, where the might practitioner can have access to that clearer mind. But for others wise, we we try to do the meditation, what they call the dissolutions at the time of death, you know. And of course, it's not really happening, but we imagine, this is happening, and next this will happen, and then, you know, is this has happened, and this is happening. Next, this will happen. Like that, we go through a dissolution stages. So to get familiarity with when we die, when we go through all this process, we are more aware of that. And then when you come to the clear light mind through the eight dissolutions, then you try to meditate on emptiness without any thoughts, you know, just simply just experience the emptiness or that. So the whole process of analysis we do before we go through those you know subtle and more subtle mind. Because when we come to more subtle mind, you don't have you cannot do the analysis. There is no mind, gross mind to do that analysis anymore. The analysis you do before gross mind started to cease, and you make a strong determination to keep on that awareness continuously. You do the analysis when you still have those growth mind, and those growth mind, with that you do the analysis, and through that analysis then you make a strong determination to remain and to keep in that awareness as you go through that process. And by that power of that, by the power of analysis you already did when you still have that growth mind, and then to be able to keep that awareness or continuity of that, then when it comes to a clear light mind, then even without the analysis, one is able to meditate on emptiness. And that is one of the most powerful um, meditation on emptiness. Is most powerful way to transform, you know, instead of samsara rebirth into the path, or freedom from the path, samsara birth, and so that is one of the also advice if one is able to do, by seeing meditating on that. Then again, we cannot do that at the time of death if we are not used to those meditation now. You need to get used to that, and you try to do that, and then at the time of death. So in that way, you are meditating on emptiness, but not with gross mind, but with a subtle mind. You know, so you try to do meditation with a gross mind while you still have those gross mind. You know, and then as you come, you make a strong determination, strong intention, determination to keep that awareness alive throughout, and that the power of that determination, that awareness, you are able to keep that awareness. And then when it comes to a clear light mind, more subtle mind, you are able to keep that awareness on the emptiness. So even though you are not doing any more analysis, but you are able to be in meditative state on emptiness without analysis by the power of that. No. So okay. In the next meditations, here Buddha describe or advise, instruct is to meditate on impermanent and let go of attachments at the time of death. Here he says, since all conditioned phenomena are in the nature of impermanent, recognizing that, remembering that, recollecting that, and recognizing that, and then letting go of attachments, letting go of attachment to self, letting go of attachment to your life, yourself, letting go of attachment to our family, friends, letting go of attachment to the whatever others, whatever that might be, It could be, our house or different objects that you are very attached to. So if you are able to die without attachments, again, you struggle less. You are able to transit peacefully, calm. If you have strong attachments, your body is, kind of dissolving and kind of breaking down and is ready to move, but your mind is not ready because your attachment doesn't want, you don't want to let go. You are, your mind is held by something. So there is a struggle between the mind and the body. And so there's a lot of more struggle and pain because there's no synchronizing between the body and the mind. You know, your body has already, all these elements has started to dissolve. And so there is imbalance and it's kind of breaking down, but your mind is unable to follow together with that. Your mind is still trying to hold like previously. There are stories about, when persons who need to die, but who is unable to die and who struggle so much. And people around them can see the struggles, the pain, the struggles. And something's keeping them, their mind very strong, not letting go. And that is the way struggle is. And in some cases, they went to some teachers and asked them, advice. And some teachers who have more psychic powers, psychic ability, and they saw, this person is attached to something. There is a story of one person, who was wearing a jewelry, and he was very attached to that. And that was one of the things. He was very attached to that. And the teachers, the Lama whom they asked, and they say, take away that. And once they took away that, then he died. He died peace. Then he somehow, maybe there was no object for him to grasp because he took away something like that, and so whatever, then he was able to die. There is another stories of a monk who is struggling to die, similar struggles. And again, when they explain to one of the teachers, Lama, who has again more higher powers to their meditation or psychic power, he saw he was attached to a tea, butter tea. And it might seem so small, but in Tibet, in old time, butter tea was very special. A lot of them never had butter. They are so poor, They will get butter tea once in a while, otherwise it's just black tea. Very plain black tea. Sometimes they wouldn't even have that black tea plain. So when someone served them with the butter tea, is a very special occasions. So when you are in that kind of condition, you could still get attached to those things because it's a very, and so in that case, that monk was very attached to that. That is the one thing, and that he's struggling. The teacher saw that and then told another student, told him to tell him on his ear, tell him that I said, because he has a very strong devotion to that teacher, the student who is dying. Tell him there is much more better tea in the Pure Land than here. So the student went and our teachers, your teacher says there's much more better butter tea in Pure Land than here. And somehow then he was able to let it go, you know, and then he passed away peacefully. So those are some stories, but I think there are many like that, where, and I hear also about people struggle to die because they're attached to their children or their partner and they really want to see them before they want to die. So they hold on that. And then when that person comes, whether it's a children, whether it's a wife, husband, partner, or someone there, and then they pass away because that is something that hold them very strongly. I had one friend, Geshe Sherab. His father, was dying, and then but I think he was struggling, and then he heard, and then he went to see him, and after he went to see, he passed away immediately. He was waiting for him. So that are the things, you are unable to let it go when you're attached to something, you know, and then when you are able to let it go of that attachment, then you are able to kind of move peacefully. And that is one of the advice why when you are trying to help someone die, then it is advice, trying to take away all the object that they might get attached to if they see that object. If especially there are objects, something someone is very attached to, then keep it away from where they see it. If they see it, then again that attachment arises. So anyway, so that is by seeing the impermanent nature, how you cannot hold. Even you try to hold on something very tightly, very strongly, that is what attachment does. The attachment is that you hold very strongly, tightly, not wanting to let it go. By understanding, no matter how much you try to hold tightly and not, you cannot because the nature of those objects are impermanent. It's like trying to hold the water in your hand very tightly. No matter how tightly, it will start to go and you cannot hold. You know, it's not like a solid object like a glass that I can hold very tightly. Yeah, I can drink from these solid objects, which is not solid water. But if I try to hold this water like the way I hold like a glass very tightly, it's impossible. So it's better to let it go from holding too tightly. So yeah, by understanding how all objects, all conditioned phenomena are in the nature of ever changing, down story, decaying, disintegrating. Not only they are decaying, disintegrating, they are ever changing, they are changing, you know, not only by year, they are changing month by month, week by week, day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second, millisecond by millisecond. Even though sometimes we don't feel that way because we can only see when the change is more gross. And when the change is gross and is more obvious to our eyes, then we see the change. When it's subtle, when it's not gross to our eyes, then it seems like it's not changing. But in reality, the change is already happened. When the leaves get orange color, whatever orange, yellow, red in the autumns, it doesn't change suddenly that, you know, over the weeks, days, sometimes months, and then the weeks and days and hours, the change was already happening. But the change happening so subtle, our naked eye cannot see it. Only we see it when that change become more and more gross and more light comes, more different lights or color. Then we see, oh, it's getting more colorful. But that isn't. It's suddenly 1 minute and it suddenly become orange like that, you know. And that is same with everything, you know. And that was one thing I found helpful, you know, like when I was, you know, helping the school in Kopan, you know, we have science lab, and sometimes I go to check what they are doing, you know, the teachers and students. And then one day they were looking at the skin of the onion, and and I also kind of check it because first time actually I check it, and I was so amazed, you know, all these cells so active. When you see the onion, it seems nothing. It's so solid. Nothing is happening. The skin here, you put it, it seems like nothing is happening, nothing is changing. But when you see with that microscope, you see so much that your eye cannot see it. So when that kind of constant movement happening, that is changing. And so that is, you know, not only the change happen, but change happening momentarily. And something within the nature of changing momentarily, it can never last. It can never last. You know, it can never last. Uh, it will, and that being the nature, then there's no point and point or meaningless to hold and grasp so tightly and not wanting to let it go, because no matter what you cannot do, it will disintegrate, it will disappear, it will, because the nature of that is ever changing moment by moment. And not understanding that nature, and then, you know, believing in some kind of more unchanging concrete, and then we hold very tightly and very graspingly, and then that is when we are unable to hold it anymore, because the change happens, and you try to, no matter how much tightly you try to hold grasp, when unable to do it, then there's a disappointment, and there is the pain and sufferings, all this comes. Mm. So at the time of time, you know, seeing not only you are dying, but, you know, even though your breath has not stopped, but the process already started. It's only a matter of time when that process comes to the end, that until the breath stops. Recognizing the change, the process already started, you know, and accepting that, and being okay with that, because it's the way things are. It's not something that is happening bad to you that it shouldn't happen. It's something everyone goes through. It's only a matter of time, you know. It's something everyone go through, you know. All your family will go through. All your friends will go through. Everyone in this world will go through. Not only we, you know, even the most enlightened beings that who have come in this world, the Buddha himself, the Jesus himself, Muhammad himself, all those founders of those great spiritual paths, they all have also went through that. And who are we to expect, you know? So through such, everyone's go through, and is my time. I'm going through, and it's a natural, it's okay. Everyone's go through, all the plants go through, all condition phenomena go through. It's just a natural, and, you know, being accepting that, you know, by understanding is because this is just a natural, you know, that happens to all conditioned phenomena, that anything that come in existence will come to end. Nothing lasts forever. Anything that is being produced, you know, will disintegrate through such awareness, understanding. Then we accept it, and with that kind of acceptance and awareness, since we are dying, you know, there is no point to be attached and hold to those different objects so tightly, because if you try to hold, you cannot. You will be separated. Even you don't want to be separated from those objects, whether it's a person, whether it's an animal, whether it's a whatever object that you are attached to, no matter how you try to hold very tightly, not wanting to separate from that, you cannot. And when you try to hold so tightly without wanting, not wanting to separate, then it becomes much more painful. Instead, you know, recognizing is something that we have to separate. It's a natural process. It's a nature of all phenomena. Therefore, you know, it's fine. It's okay to be separate from that. And with that, you know, then letting go of attachments help your death more peaceful, more calm, and it also affect your futures as well. When you are able to die more calm, peaceful, you know, there's better um, futures. And also, not only yourself, all the people left behind, it make easier for them. It will be very painful for them to see your loved one dying with so much pain and struggles. You know, it can bother them for years, sometimes whole lifetime, that they have experienced and seen someone, someone who is very close to your loved one, that you saw them dying with so much pain, so much struggles. On the other hand, when you see your loved one dying very calm, peacefully, you know, even though you love someone, you don't want to lose someone dear, but still it gives you comfort that they pass away peacefully. It gives you comfort and peace of mind. While you have the feeling of loss, but at the same time, there's a sense of peace, there's a sense of comfort. Also, it gives you less fearful of your own death, you know, by recognizing, understanding, oh, death doesn't have to be such painful and struggles. It can be peaceful. So some people who are all experiencing or being around sea, it can give them a lot of confidence, peace, and also not be so fearful of death. On others, when you die with so much pain and struggle, people around there, it can give them a lot of fear of death, their own death, because they think maybe my death would be like this one, and I don't want to have that kind of death. So not only it affect you now and future, but it affect the very people, your loved one who are left behind. So therefore, um, it become important as much as we can, you know, to create a cause and condition and prepare ourselves to have more, you know, peaceful death. And all these practice meditations can be very helpful to prepare to have peaceful death, to have better life while we're still alive, and to prepare more calm, peaceful death, positive health death, and to create better conditions for the futures so that we have better conditions in the futures. So I think that is all. That is the main, I think, four practices that. Um, so I can take some questions if there is any questions.
Je vais la dire en français parce qu'en anglais c'est un peu pas trop long pour moi. Est-ce que le process de la mort, on peut, on peut utiliser, d'après ce que je me rappelle, on peut utiliser l'endormissement comme processus de la mort.
And we use when we go to sleep as a process for dying, to train, the process of that.
Et inversement, au réveil, l'inverse.
And when we wake up also, but on the other way around.
Et quelquefois, au moment où je me réveille, j'ai l'impression d'être un peu à la fois dans le réveil et puis un peu dans l'endormissement. Puis j'ai comme s'il y a une lumière, un peu lumière, mais comme spacieuse et blanche. Est-ce que c'est la première étape de vision? Tu sais, il y a trois visions, blanche, rouge et blanc. Ouais.
Sometimes when I wake up, I'm not still completely woken up, and I still have some vision of some light that is there. And I was wondering whether that could be one of the white appearances from the satellite.
Yeah, first of all, I think there are certain experiences that can have similar, not exactly some, but similar dissolution experience like that time of death. So going to sleep is one of one of those. When you go to sleep again, especially when you go to the deep sleep, then our senses and our gross mind started to dissolve, not completely dissolve like at the time of death, but to a certain level it dissolves. It doesn't become so active, and then the subtle mind also dissolve in the sense that it isn't, and so that is the similarity of that. And therefore certain practitioner meditator, they do the the training of that dream yoga, for example, because again those dreams, when you have that dream, the mind at the dream state is supposed to be much more subtle, and because of dissolving of those gross minds, and if you can use that dream mind to meditate and contemplate, then again it's much more powerful. It's not same like some other people who do training their dream, that you want to fly and in dream and you can continue to fly, or it's not same. It's actually using the dream mind to meditate on emptiness or whatever different objects. If you are able to use it, then supposedly that mind is much more subtle and powerful. So again, some meditators or practitioners, they will, before they go to the sleep, they will go through all the dissolutions, a dissolution meditations, and then at the end, as they go to sleep, as they are in a deep meditation on a clear light mind, so that is what they try to do. And when you wake up, then you imagine that you are waking from that clear light mind. Then from clear light mind, then again, then you started to have, more gross mind and more gross mind, the senses and everything. As far as the second questions, I don't know. I don't think that might be. I cannot say for sure, but it depends on how deep that, so yeah, I just don't know whether that is a wide appearance mind or is just a more gross level of mind. Any questions?
We are all ready to die.
I
think we are all ready to die.
I'm
There
not.
is no question then.
I'm not ready to die.
When Lamazopa Rinpoche was there, I asked Rinpoche, just before the talk, Rinpoche, are you ready? And he said to me, to die? I said, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think he was ready all the time.
Yeah.
No?
Ready or not, you will die.
Huh?
Ready or not, you will die.
You will die.
So if no questions, then we do the dedications. Yes, please.
Can you ask Florian? Florian,
Yeah, Florian.
can you come?
He's hiding.
He's probably in front of the TV.
Yes, thank you, Florian. Because we would like to, on aimerait profiter de sa présence.
We would like to take the opportunity of your presence
Pour poser une question qu'on n'a pas pu poser à Geshe Dorje Abdul.
to ask a question that we couldn't ask to Geshe Dorje Damdul.
Okay. And then Florian, remember the question.
Florian,
Ouais.
Florian
Ouais, voilà.
So,
Tu es d'accord de la poser, Florian?
I will try to ask the question. It's not an easy question.
So then maybe I don't know.
Perhaps, but it's
okay.
already not easy to ask it. So, we talked about compound space, and we said that compound space between two elements or phenomena, the compound space is impermanent. Impermanent. Okay. And the uncomposed compound space, which is how do you say that? Imputed on the compound space, this uncompound space is permanent. How is it possible? Because the compound space, the uncompound space is comment dire ça? Jean-Paul, you can help me if you like.
Oui. On est en train de débattre sur l'espace composé entre deux objets. Entre Séverine et moi, il y a un espace. Et puis cet espace-là, il est impermanent.
So we're debating between the space between two objects, like between Jean-Paul and me, and this compounded space is impermanent.
Et il y a un espace incomposé.
And there is an uncompounded
Donc,
space.
la question de Geshe là, c'était est-ce que l'espace incomposé, est-ce qu'il est permanent ou impermanent?
Is the uncompounded space permanent or impermanent?
Et à ce moment-là, on a compris, on n'était pas sûr, on a compris comme quoi
So we understood that we were not sure.
Que l'espace composé,
compounded space,
il était, comment c'était? Il était impermanent parce que il dépendait en fait de l'espace incomposé qui était permanent. Ouais, je m'en rappelle pas.
Non, non, l'espace incomposé était permanent, mais il était imputé sur la base de l'espace composé qui est impermanent.
Impermanent.
Et la
Impermanent.
question que nous, on se posait, comment quelque chose qui est imputé, donc ça veut dire qu'il y a une cause, il est imputé sur quelque chose qui est impermanent, la cause est impermanente, ou en tout cas une de ses parties, ou une de ses conditions, comment est-ce que cet espace incomposé peut-il être permanent alors qu'il est imputé à partir d'une base qui est impermanente?
How can something be imputed, be permanent when it's imputed on an impermanent base? If it has a cause, then how can it be permanent?
On n'a pas compris la question. Hein.
Oh, mais moi non plus. Hein.
Demande-moi, si l'espace composé, c'est quelque chose dont il parle. Ça lui parle, l'espace composé, qui est
Do you
impermanent.
know what we speak about the compounded space and uncompounded space? Does it talk to you?
I'm not sure. Duce.
As far as I understand,
Not Duce. Duce is compound and space in Namka. Duce ke nam Dumache ke namka.
they think that uncompounded space is imputed independence on impermanent phenomena such as compounded space.
When we talk about space being permanent, we're talking about something with mere absent or something that's abstract. You know? So that mere absent or something that's abstract has no cause and conditions. Even though the space in this can be small or big, when I feel the water, this space can be small. You know, when I drink all this, the space might be more. There's change in that in terms of, but it's not because there's changing its cause and condition. It's changing the container itself. That change is not because of the cause of that space itself. It's because of the change in the container is whether the container is full or not full. So therefore, that mere absence of that something construct, what do you call it, plasm, abstractions, yeah. So that is a permanent. That one is permanent. That doesn't change. The nature of that doesn't change. Whether it is full or that nature of that space is still same. It's only the space can be big or small because of the container, but the nature of that space itself doesn't change. Unlike like the table or the tree or the plant, you know, where the seed become a sprout, the sprout become with due to other condition that then it changes in something a different nature in that change. That space doesn't change in that way. So as far as I know, that is why it's permanent. It's same with the emptiness, you know. There is the emptiness of this book is permanent. But of course, when there is the book, there is the emptiness of book. When there is no book, there is no more emptiness of that book. So the emptiness book can be there, or emptiness book might not be there, depending on whether it's a book or not. That changes, but it's not a change in the nature of the emptiness itself. It's changing because of the book itself, whether it's the book or not. So similar in that way. So that's why it's permanent. Because sometimes we think it's impermanent because the space changes, the space is small. Again, also we have to understand I don't know, in Western science definition of the space. I don't know, because sometimes we might be using the same term and we might be talking about something else. So that is why definitions is important. So in Buddhist, when we spoke about space as being permanent, then we are talking about something that mere absence or something that's abstractions. So I think sometimes we have problem with the words because we use same word, but sometimes there might be different definition in different.
Impermanent.
Permanent. That is why it's permanent. Yeah, that nature doesn't change.
I think the question was how do you define compounded space and how do you define uncompounded space? What are they? In what way are they different? The definition of compounded space.
So what is the compounding space? What was the example? I don't know.
Well, I think what I am, because I was, he was kind of saying compounded space is the space that I can see. And maybe this is where the impermanent comes from, because I can, with senses, I can see compounded space because I see here and I see there, and in the middle is the compounded space. And then somehow, and we understand uncompounded space because it is compounded space is imputed on uncompounded space. It's only by understanding compounded space you can understand uncompounded space, because uncompounded space you cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
But
is a mere absence of that.
So it's not the definition of space, it's the difference of compounded and uncompounded. That was the discussion. I think we have to re-listen to this whole thing, because I also didn't kind of get it. When he kind of said it, it's like always, you think you understand, then I have to explain, then I understand I didn't understand.
Maybe there is an analogy to understand how absences are permanent, is that the absence of John in the room is permanent. But it is occasional, because as soon as John enters the room, right, the absence ceases to be. But as long as there was the absence of John, the absence itself did not change from moment to moment. It's permanent, but it could be occasional.
Right. But as I'm saying, the discussion was not about space, the discussion was about compounded and uncompounded. How they are related to each other and the definition of this and that. And I think I did hear also that you say compounded space is impermanent, and I went like, what? But I was only on the Zoom. Christine, you were there. How do you remember it?
I mean, it's exactly how he explained before. That was because he said that was the space in between two persons that was impermanent, compounded space. And he was showing like this, when you put your arm, there is no abstraction, but because it's between two people, you can see it. And then uncompounded space, it's referring on the absence of something. I was showing also when you have a cup and you drink your tea, and then you can see that there is the absence of tea inside. And that's exactly what he explained as well. Yeah. And the nature of this uncompounded space cannot change because it's permanent. That's exactly what he said. There is a cup, and then there is the cup is the emptiness of the cup. It's occasional permanent. When the cup is broken, the emptiness of the cup is away. So we call that occasional permanent.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's occasional, but it doesn't make it impermanent just because it's okay.
No, but the cup, if it's a cup, it's impermanent. But all phenomena are empty as well. It's emptiness for all phenomena. There is the emptiness of the cup as soon as there is a cup. There is the emptiness of the carpet, emptiness of a person, emptiness of all phenomena.
Sure, it's like with everything. When the book is not here anymore, then the emptiness of the book is also gone.
So we will have until tomorrow morning. After this class, all of one who want to discuss, you will have a class, debating class today. Then we will have a long discussion. Then we will have a long discussion.
With the trees and
Yeah.
on the incompetent space. No, I'm joking.
Yes.
I'm joking.
So we go to the dedications.
Yeah.
36. Okay, so before actually today's the last day, then we can take a few moments. Due to all the virtues that are created by all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, others, and oneself. May the Bodhicitta mind and wisdom realizing emptiness realize within our mind stream and mind stream of all sentient beings. And those who have already actualized, not to diminish, but increase in more and more. We also dedicate all these virtues for all the people, all the sentient beings who are experiencing illness, whatever their illness are, for all the treatment to be successful and them to be cured and have healthy and long life. We also dedicate for all who have experienced an obstacle in their life, whatever those obstacles are. May all the obstacles and cause of obstacle be pacified. And may they be able to find the perfect solutions to the obstacles. And all their wishes be fulfilled according to the Dharma. We also dedicate for everyone who have died in recent times, especially within the last 49 days. Wherever they are, may they be free from all the fears, suffering, cause of sufferings. And may they have perfect human rebirth, actualize the Dharma in their heart, and achieve enlightenment. And we also dedicate to end all the war, the violence, not only the physical violence, but also internal violence of internal violence, aggressions of anger and hatred, and really hateful feeling to each other, all of them to pacify. May there be more tolerance with each other, more understanding with each other, more compassion with others. Through that, may there be more peace, harmony, and happiness in the life of all sentient beings and in the world. And we also dedicate for all the disasters due to the elements, all the fire, earthquake, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, and all of that, as well as any future potential for all those destructions. And so that there's more balance in the elements, less destructions. We also dedicate for the long and healthy life of His Holy Dalai Lama, all the gurus, all their noble projects, wishes be fulfilled without obstacles. And may we always be under the spiritual care, guidance, until we achieve fully enlightened state. And we also dedicate for the swift return of Geshe Lama Sabar Rinpoche's reincarnations, to be able to find the unmistaken reincarnations, and to clear every possible obstacle for smooth studies and practice, and to be great benefit to sentient beings. Due to all the virtues created by all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, others, and oneself, which are empty from his own side, may I, which is empty from his own side, achieve fully awakened state, which is empty from his own side, and lead all sentient beings, which are empty from their own side, that fully awakened state by myself, which is empty from his own side. Okay, so then we do the dedication prayers, page number 36. Again. Kewadi nyodo da lama sanke do gyone do ashinya malepa te sala webansho chancho sencho rinpoche ma ke pana ke gyoche ke wa nyamba me paya konde konto pe warash Jigden kamde pende malupa kangle chungwe sambe yeshe no kade tsungme tenzin gyatso la sowa deso tuche lunjo sho tozo changshin chamgen jawe tenzin jongpe we kun so to poro sho song ku we le mo tu jo da so du che kun do nyu chen sho. Thank you, thank you. Good night, thank you, thank you. Good night, thank you.
We wish you a nice
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good night.
Gisela.
Merci Raphaël pour la traduction. Merci
Thank
Cédric pour la
you.
traduction, de venir jusqu'ici. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Salut Johan Broquer.
Thank you.
Salut à vous tous.
Thank
you, Geshe.
Okay. Good night. Thank you. Good
Good
night.
night.
Mhm.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Which one? Kristen. Johan? Okay, good night.
Good night. See you soon.
Okay.